AM 1220 KHTS. I am Wade Skalsky, host of Wade Beyond the Courtroom, and it is a beautiful Super Bowl Sunday today. Joining me on the board is Mike. Mike, how are you?
Good morning, Wade. I'm fine. Thank you. Happy Sunday to you, sir.
Yes, yes. Again, you have emerged victorious from the weekly cage match, winning against all of the other board operators.
I'm getting pretty good at it.
They're running out of people, and the hospital bills are increasing. So good, good, good. So
but Super Bowl Sunday is here.
I'm excited about it. I think that they say that the Monday should be a holiday.
Yeah.
Typically, though, that's because I think as everyone has a hangover.
But do you really think a holiday? I mean, it's only football.
Half the country's sad that their team lost. Half the country is happy that their team won. So I will not be having a hangover tomorrow. I'm going to be watching the game, drinking a delightful rooibos tea.
Nice.
Yes, exactly.
On your sofa.
On my sofa, exactly.
Well, may the best team win. Go Seahawks.
We're going to have, here's a tease for you. We're going to have predictions at the end of the show today. We're going to make some picks. But so let's start off with Wade's week in retrospect. So I'm going to criminal court this week. There is a felony courtroom that I'm going into. So it's a very serious place. It's very serious things are going there. People use words like prison and things like that. Not very fun. And so I walk into the court. I'm a little late. I've called the court, and the judge is sitting up at the judge's bench, and him and the prosecutor are having a discussion about something. And when I come in, the discussion stops. Now, this is not ever a good thing, because typically that means that they're either A, talking about you, or B, they're mad that you're interrupting their conversation. So I stand there because they're all looking at me, and I find out that they're talking about a movie called Hot Tub Time Machine. So you have the most serious court you can possibly think, and the judge and the prosecutor are talking about Hot Tub Time Machine. Did you see the first movie?
I did not.
Well, I did. Did you know that they're coming out with a sequel for Hot Tub Time Machine?
I saw that.
Yes. I don't think John Cusack is in it. I'm not sure.
I find it a bit silly.
Well, listen, my wife and I went to see Hot Tub Time Machine in the theater, okay? And so in the first 10 minutes of the movie, the couple in front of us stood up and walked out in a huff, right? And I was sort of taken aback by this because, when they went to go buy the ticket, they said 2 for Hot Tub Time Machine, please. It's not like they said 2 for Spartacus and they were surprised. So, people have to forget that prosecutors, judges, defense attorneys, we're all human beings, and sometimes they actually do have conversations about entertainment.
Right.
So in that vein, actually, we're going to talk a little entertainment today. I'm going to be joined by a friend of mine, a guy by the name of Jake Farrow, who is a writer for Nickelodeon. We have him on the line. Jake, are you there?
I am. Hi.
Hey, Jake, thanks for joining us today.
Technology works.
Good, yeah. I'm always amazed that we can connect this way. It still boggles my mind. So, did you see Hot Tub Time Machine, Jake?
No, I don't have time to see any movies, really.
Right,
I see the screeners that the WGA sends me every year, and that's about it.
I think that perhaps the Hot Tub Time Machine did not make the Academy Awards screener list for you.
No, but I heard it's good.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'm going to go see Hot Tub Time Machine too. So, Jake,
can I answer all those questions that were left by Hot Tub Time Machine 1?
Exactly. So, Jake, tell me a little bit about kind of what you do.
I am a writer on a Nickelodeon show called Henry Danger that's airing right now on Saturdays at 8 p.m. It's about a superhero and a kid who gets a job as a sidekick to the superhero. Right now, we're shooting episode 22 of 26, which would be the first season, and I think maybe 10 or 12 episodes have aired, something like that. And so far, it's going pretty good.
Good.
I like it.
Good. Well, I wanted to get you actually talking about that. So you guys write an episode, and then how long after that you write it does it shoot?
Well, we cut it pretty close on our shows. Normally, it would be maybe a couple of weeks or something like that. But right now, sometimes we write the episode that we're shooting next week while we're shooting the episode this week.
Wow. So you're like super under the gun then.
We'll write it on Thursday and Friday, and then be shooting it by the next Thursday or Friday.
Wow.
And then it'll take about 3 months to put it through post-production and put it up on the air.
Gotcha.
And that's about as streamlined as the process will ever get.
So how do you think about, take a Netflix, for example, House of Cards. They released the entire season on one day. I think that's amazing. Like, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, is that something you guys would like to do? I mean, obviously Nickelodeon does a different model, but do you have any thoughts on that?
I think they're changing so fast. I mean, maybe that'll be the way it ends up in the future. But no, I think we're still doing episodic. We're still releasing them slowly so the kids can can tune in every week. And I don't know, maybe it will end up being like that. I know my kid just streams things on Netflix nonstop. That's the way he watches TV. And so maybe eventually it'll turn into that.
Yeah, it's not episodic like the way that when we were growing up. Basically, it was, you had to wait. I had to wait every Friday to see Miami Vice, and I was really fired up about that. Yeah,
I don't know if there's as much money to be made by releasing things entire seasons at a time so people can binge watch.
Gotcha. Well,
unless you're Netflix or another streaming company like that.
Right, which is that's their model. Well, great. Well, listen, I
know virtually little to nothing about that.
I'm really excited to get in and talk to you more about this because ostensibly we are a legal show, so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the legal issues that writers face when they're writing for TV. And you're listening to AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. This is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Talk to you in a bit. Welcome back, Santa Clarita. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am your host, Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Jake, are you still there?
I am.
All right, perfect. So we'll keep the boring legal talk to a minimum, but let's chat about it for just a second. What are some of the issues that you have to worry about when you're writing a script for TV?
The main thing we have to worry about is because we're on a kids network, we can't sell anything. Meaning, we can't advertise any products. Like on Disney, I think they're allowed to do stuff like that, but on Nickelodeon, we have very strict laws about what we're selling, and so we can't advertise.
So that's like product placement issues, things like that?
Yeah, those are absolutely forbidden. And the only other thing I really worry about every week is when we write jokes where we sort of make fun of products or services that we have to, come as close to naming the product as we can and then sort of thinly veil it so that we can't legally be sued for sort of making fun of it.
Right. No, I think that's fascinating. I think that's a good thing, though. I think kids are really impressionable, and so it's good that we don't try to sell them stuff on their favorite. I think that's great. I think it's
exactly. But you want the show to feel real, so you want references to real, let's say, stores in a mall. Mm-hmm. But you have to change the name of the store so that you don't get in trouble. Like, for instance, on iCarly, we were always referencing a store in a mall called Build-A-Bra, which was sort of like Build-A-Bear, but you could make your own bra.
Gotcha. Well, no, that makes sense. It's not like the Transformer movie where, they've got, Coca-Cola and giant Brinks trucks and Chevy trucks and, all sorts of things that they're advertising for product placement on TV like that. In your situation, you just have to be really sure that you have to work around those issues. So, you're a creative guy.
No, and it would be awesome to be able to write those jokes. If you could reference actual products, it would make our jobs so much easier to be able to write, like, oh my God, this tastes worse than an Arby's sandwich.
Right.
It would be so much easier.
Right. Well, I'm not sure that that would be a lot easier, but like I said, you're creative. That's why you get paid the big bucks, right?
Yeah, but I like to rag on products.
Right, I'm with you. So, so Jake, now you and I actually went to the same college, the University of Arizona. Do you remember those years?
Those particular 4 years, no.
Right. So I have a question for you. When you were going to college, in your head, were you like, I'm preparing for a career in TV or in the movies?
I thought I was preparing for a career in the movies, yeah. I started out in creative writing like my first year, and my mom was like, what? You didn't tell me you were majoring in that? No, absolutely not. I'm not paying for that.
Right.
And so she made me change over to economics.
Okay.
I ended up getting a degree in that.
I have a degree in economics as well. It's we never had an economics class together. Were you in the bachelor?
How is that possible?
Well, I don't know. Now, let me ask you this question. Did you get your economics degree in the College of Business or the College of Arts and Sciences?
Arts and Sciences.
Yeah, me too. So I was, and this is a good lead-in for a little segment I'd like to do with Jake. It's called Wade and Jake Talk Science. All right, Jake. So let's go into your science background. I will tell you my science background first. None. What's your science background?
I like to read articles on the internet.
Perfect. So I think we are eminently qualified to talk about science and maybe perhaps teach each other a little bit about this. So, and actually this is a great idea because we're going to talk about something today called the Wyatt Earp effect. Now, I picked something that I'm fairly certain you've never heard of.
No.
Okay, perfect. The Wyatt Earp effect, and actually you unwittingly have lived it. The Wyatt Earp effect says, okay, there were so many gunfights in the Wild West that someone had to come through it unscathed, because Wyatt Earp is famous for being in many, many shootouts, and he never was shot. He never was even hurt, and that was part of his legend. Well, science says the reason that is because you don't hear about the thousands of other guys that got shot and died because they obviously didn't make it through, but at least one guy with that volume of people has to make it through. So the reason why that's important for our discussion is you were kind of the Wyatt Earp of creative writing. You were the one guy who made it successful, famous TV gig from a creative writing degree. How does that sound?
I feel pretty happy. It's much better than being shot.
That's right. That's right. So I'm going to call you Wyatt Earp from now on because that's your new nickname, I think. Did you ever have a nickname ever?
I've had a ton of nicknames. In high school, it was Snake, because it rhymes with Jake, and then it was Little Man Tate in college, because I'm not big.
Right.
And then after graduation, it was Flaky Jake. Spackler, I've been called, because I looked like somebody who looked like Carl Spackler.
Okay.
From Caddyshack.
Okay.
Bill Murray's character.
All right.
I had a lot.
Wow. Well, that's surprising.
I'll take Wyatt Earp, though.
That surprises me that you have so many nicknames, because you have a one-syllable name. Like, no one ever called me anything but Wade because it was easy to say. So I don't know. You're the Wyatt Earp of nicknames and the Wyatt Earp of creative writing. Was your nickname Flaky after college because you were having some difficulty finding employment from your creative writing degree?
Yeah, I think it was that, and I constantly said I was going to show up to places, and then I didn't.
Oh, I see. So it really wasn't
and then I just stayed home.
It really wasn't a nickname as much as it was a description of your practices.
My personality, yeah. Right. I've gotten better at it, especially since I've got married. My wife does not let me flake on anything anymore.
Yeah, I think getting married is the one thing that's the same for all the people I know, my friends, is that marriage has calmed them down. So I think you seem much calmer than you used to be.
Yeah, I would say so.
I like it. Now, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the Super Bowl is today. Do you have a pick that you have for the Super Bowl today?
I really want the Seahawks to win just because I hate Tom Brady.
Yes.
And the Patriots, but I'll take either. I'm a Broncos fan, and last year was emotionally distressing. So you'd think I'd hate the Seahawks, but I don't.
Mike is weighing.
They were just doing their job.
Mike is weighing in. Mike, you don't.
Well, yeah, and I'm a casual football fan, Jake, but I think last year was when they threw the safety, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that let's throw a safety, and then from there it just it was gone.
Everything. Oh, I knew it was bad right at the beginning, and it just got worse. There was never like a ray of sunshine or even a glimmer of hope for the whole game.
Well, I'm actually gonna. Mike is Seahawks. Jake is Seahawks. I'm picking the Patriots to win. So I think I'm in the minority here. Yeah. It could happen. I think it's gonna be a blowout. I think the Patriots are gonna win by a ton. But
when you think about it, the Seahawks really are a pretty new team. When you think about it, and that they won a Super Bowl before. Hey,
last year was their first. Last year was their first Super Bowl. I mean, so back to back is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But then
I believe in Pete Carroll. That's what I'm betting on. I'm betting on Pete Carroll.
I think that's a good that may be a good bet. Well, when we come back from the break, we're going to actually
it's a lot of pressure on Pete, though.
That's right. That's right. When we come back from the break, we're actually going to have a bet between Jake and I as to the Super Bowl, since we're picking opposite teams. And you're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm your host, Attorney Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Welcome back, Santa Clarita. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. This is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. I am your host, Attorney Wade Skalsky. We're speaking with Jake Farrow, a writer on Nickelodeon. Jake, are you still there?
What's pooping in?
Hey, what's up, man? All right, so let me ask you another quick legal question. Now, let's take Nickelodeon out of the equation for a second. Now, when you write your own projects, like if you were to create your own project, are you aware of like how it's protected with regards to copyright and things like that? Did you think about that, or do you just write it and you say, I'll figure that out later?
I would just write it and say I'll think about it later. I've always heard people say you can't copyright ideas. And people steal ideas all the time here in this town. So it's something that's there. It's in the back of your mind, and you just try not to tell people about things while you're working on it. That's probably your best protection.
Right. Well, no, that's common practical sense, and that's what I always try to tell people about legal issues is that there's the and we talked about this last week. There's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, and then there's common sense. You want to try to keep yourself out of the legal system at all costs, and sometimes a little bit of common sense goes a long way. And I think simply not maybe putting your genius creative idea on Facebook for all to see, to like or dislike before you write it, might not be a good strategy. What do you think?
Probably not if you're trying to protect it, but sometimes you just got to prove these ideas, or how do you say?
You have to vet them.
You have to vet it. Like, is this a good idea?
Well, here's a question.
I don't worry about people stealing ideas. It's either going to happen or it's not. You just got to hurry up and be the first one to market with it.
Yeah, no, and I'm going back to Hot Tub Time Machine. I would have paid $1 million to be in that pitch room for that, because the guy's like, okay, so he's going to the suits. So we've got this idea. There's a hot tub, and it's a time machine, and everyone's like, movie gold, boom, and now they're making a sequel. I just find that fascinating.
Yeah, and then a room of people will sit around being like, can it be a sauna? Can we pitch on a hot tub? Can it be a closet?
Exactly. It's a hot tub doesn't fit the demographics correctly. It's got to be some other sort of fitness area, maybe like a gym time machine.
Bounce house, maybe?
Bounce house. I have it. One day I will share with you my bounce house. I had a bounce house horror. We don't have enough time to go into today, but maybe our next time that we talk, I will tell you the bounce house story. So now, Jake,
I may have to call you after we're done here. I got to go to a kid's birthday party today. So there's going to be some bounce housing in my future.
Well, what I would say is no matter what you do, then this is obviously not legal advice, but no matter what you do, do not let them put you in charge of safety watching the kids in the bounce house. Because
no one would ever put me in charge of much of anything, I don't think.
There is no safety with 20 kids bouncing around in a bounce house. So
now, Jake, will you go in the bounce house as well?
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's why you should never put me in charge, because I'll be the guy, the adult, bouncing and trying to bounce the kids higher by jumping near them. And my wife will come in and be like, what are you doing? No, you're going to kill everybody.
Well, listen, Jake, I think that creative bent that you have to break the rules is been good, held you in good stead going forward. So now,
definitely, it made me well suited for the job.
Now, I promised
I'm a child.
I know exactly. I promised you that we would make a bet on the Super Bowl since you were picking the Seahawks and I'm picking the Patriots. So I think something benign. Obviously, we can't bet money. A gentleman's bet, perhaps. But
we can't. What? Why can't we bet money?
There's some sort of it's illegal. So you're not supposed to do that.
Gentleman's bet, like $2,000-$3,000.
Yeah, exactly.
No big deal.
$25,000-$50,000 of dollars of Mike. I'm going to bet Jake $20,000 of your money. Is that okay?
Oh, stand in line.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. So we have to come up with a gentleman's bet, Jake. Perhaps I will take you. I will take you to lunch at a fine. I'll have you come up now, Jake. You don't live in Valencia. You live is it Sherman Oaks?
Studio City.
So there's this psychological barrier on There's a psychological barrier on getting people to come up to Valencia for whatever reason. Now, I could be to your house right now in Studio City in perhaps like 35 minutes on a Sunday, okay? But obviously during the week, it would take me an hour and a half, depending on what time I left. But I think here's the bet. If the Patriots win, you actually have to come up to Valencia and break through that psychological barrier. How does that sound?
Yeah, no, you're on. Hey, by the way, I have the same problem getting people to come to my house in the Valley that live in West Hollywood.
Well,
it's sort of this LA thing of people are scared to drive 30 minutes.
I don't understand. Yeah,
it's even less than that, though. It's right over the pass. Studio City is like right there.
It's quick, but people will not come to parties, and I'll be like, why not? You live in the Valley.
We get that here as well. It's like, what, Santa Clarita? That's so far, and they live in Woodland Hills.
And then the magic, you say, oh, it's by Magic Mountain. And like, I know where that is. Yeah, exactly.
Then it sends even farther.
Right, exactly. Now, what are you doing for the Super Bowl today, Jake? Are you having a party? Are you going to a party?
No, I'm not even watching it, probably.
You're not even watching it? We have a bet now. You're going to have, if the Patriots win, you're going to have to come up to Santa Clarita.
I'll have to find out the results later on. I'm actually agreed to work on a little project with a friend. I'm helping my friend write something.
Oh, okay, great. Would you like to tell me over the radio what your friend's idea is?
I don't want anyone to steal my idea.
Well, yeah, I think that's one thing that's really important is that creative endeavors basically is there is a whole body of law that is for them to protect them, and there are lots of legal issues that we've talked about today with regards to the product placement issues on Nickelodeon versus you see this all the time in the movies to obviously not wanting to bash a product or something like that. But I just think that's fascinating, Jake. I really want to thank you for coming in and just talking to us a little bit today.
Oh, I'd love to come on again.
Absolutely. Well, we've got the Wade and Jake Talk Science segment now. I think it's a big hit.
I'll have to think about it next time. I may study up on some science and make you look bad.
You know, if it's not too far, Jake, you could actually come in the studio and do the show.
I can't. It's too far away.
Psychologically, it's too painful to drive up here. So, well,
Never going to happen.
Well, the one nice thing about that, though, actually, is that I love Santa Clarita. I love Valencia. It's a nice little kept secret that nobody wants to come up here, and so I don't have to worry about there being a large influx of people.
No, I've been up there before. It actually is really pretty. I think that's where they did the first season of Weeds. Like, isn't that where Agrestic is?
I believe so. They do a lot of shooting up here, actually. So it
feels like E.T., like where Elliot lived.
There's some suburban parts of it that may look like that a little bit. I try to block out E.T. because I'm scarred from the scene when he's in the wash getting rained on, and
where it's all white.
Yeah, it still frightens me.
The biggest show done up here was Deadwood. Deadwood filmed up here.
Really?
Oh,
in the middle of the
I love that.
It was
love
a huge,
fantastic series, and then they just couldn't. They needed another season to kind of tie everything up, in my opinion. But that's just me.
No, it sort of ended a little oddly.
But everybody, I mean, is it Timothy Oliphant is in that movie, and we're gonna get him. Is he in Hot Tub Time Machine too, Timothy Oliphant?
I have no idea.
He should be if he's
I'm
not
a fan.
The Sweargin, they should do it like a Deadwood. They should do like a Deadwood remake, and
then Jake could write it.
Right, in part of Hot Tub Time Machine too. Well, listen, Jake, we're out of time. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on today. And I think the Wade and Jake segment is going to come back in terms of Wade and Jake Talk Science. You're listening to Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalsky, your host of Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Stay safe, and we'll talk soon.